My name's Alex Pollock. I am a Swindon resident and local businessman. I run a digital marketing agency here in Swindon called Stockmed Sup. We help brands tell their stories online through video content and photography and the management of social media channels. And more recently, I am just in the process of setting up a men's mental health awareness campaign.
So why did you start your company?
So I was quite good at school. I was quite involved and quite social at school, and when I went to college I just decided that college wasn't really for me. So shortly before my AS level exams I told my mum that I was going to drop out of college, and her conditions were that I needed to go and get a job as quickly as possible, and I did. I was fortunate enough to get a very low paid entry level job for a digital online e-commerce company, and by going into that business they taught me kind of all the basics of social media and digital marketing, SEO, Google advertising, those kind of things. And from there I just gradually moved around a number of media agencies to get a bit of experience before going to work for a couple of large corporates in London. And then a few years ago I was a little bit bored of that corporate kind of lifestyle, travelling to London every day, and just decided that I wanted to start my own business, and that's how I got into it.
So like, what resources did you need to start for your company, and was it expensive?
So some businesses do have the tendency to be quite expensive when you set them up. Fortunately for me, as long as I had my laptop and a Wi-Fi connection and a bit of understanding as to what I needed to create, like a website and some branding and some equipment, it wasn't too expensive for me to start up. But I do know of similar sized businesses and similar style agencies that have a heavy investment to begin with to get all the latest equipment and technology and cameras and those kind of things. For us to start with, we had a couple of DSLR cameras, a few smartphones, a really nice book of contacts, and our laptops.
So what makes your company unique in such a large industry?
I think the thing that sets our company apart from the rest is we are quite small and boutique. So when we deal with a client, you are dealing with the individual people who have got skill set in our business. A lot of our clients are actually independently owned businesses, so being a business owner myself, but also understanding social media and digital marketing, it's very easy for me to kind of connect and engage with other owners of businesses who are also looking to kind of drive more revenue and deliver on their business objectives.
How do you promote your business?
So to promote our business, because we're in the social media industry, we actually have to practice what we preach. So we have quite an engaging Facebook presence. We're quite active on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and those kind of channels. So for us, in order to showcase to potential clients that we can be what we are and we can do what we do, we have a really sort of effective social media strategy.
Did you meet any challenges at the start?
I think there's always going to be challenges, whatever kind of business you want to set up. And for us, we didn't have any funding, we didn't have any large investors, I didn't have a huge bank account or anything like that. So the hardest challenge to begin with was getting up and running as quickly as possible to ensure that we could bring some clients on board and get some money coming in so that we could then expand, get some new members of staff. And I guess over the last couple of years, it's been that kind of progressive routine of winning a couple of large clients, investing some money back into the business, and then sort of doing this whole loop around again.
How many people do you employ?
So at the moment in the business we've got 5 employees that are full-time. That ranges from content creators to photographers. We've got a digital marketing apprentice, a client services director. So that's our core team, but in order to meet the briefs of some of our clients, we actually have a number of freelancers as well. So we've got probably 9 or 10 freelancers that we work with on an ad hoc basis.
Can you give an example of a sort of client brief that you would work to?
Yep. So what? Just a specific client?
If you can.
Yeah. Okay.
Or just
So a client that we work with quite locally in Swindon is a company called the Wilkes Academy. They're a performing arts college based over in Westmead, and they take on the next generation of performers and dancers and offer them diplomas. So it's a bit like a kind of 3-year college course. But they take some of the best talent from around the UK, and a lot of their kind of performers go on to be on West End stages. They've had a kid recently go to The Lion King, they've got someone in a Thriller musical. Their whole business brief for the digital marketing was to showcase what goes on behind the scenes and through their performing arts college doors through social media. So it's about creating really professional looking videos of some of the experiences that the performers have had there, and then getting it out to the target audience that they're looking to attract. So for example, they want to be appealing to those 14, 15, 16-year-old next generation dancers, but they also need to be kind of appealing to the parents as well, so that they can determine that that's where they want their child to go in order to follow their career and follow their dream. And then another example of a client that we have is we work with a couple of hotel brands, and for them it's all about showcasing what goes on in and around the hotel, photography of their latest menus, offers. We get a lot of video content on the rooms and the kind of public areas. So that's another kind of popular thing for us.
So can you explain about your other business?
In late 2018, I was invited to a focus group session in Swindon, which was run by the public health team from Swindon Borough Council, and it was about getting as many men in one room as possible to talk about men's mental health. And the idea of the focus group was to understand what local guys would like to see or hear from a marketing campaign to help generate awareness and reduce the stigma of talking about men's mental health. So types of guys in the rooms was myself, there was a couple of friends from other marketing agencies who I have, there were a number of mental health first aid trainers, but there was also actually quite a lot of guys who were currently seeking support in and around the local area for mental health issues, whether it be depression or anxiety, or some who were actually at the point of potentially taking their own lives. And by having that conversation in that room, we were able to sort of ascertain what any type of guy would want to see from a campaign, and it wasn't going on about the statistics or what the central government want to say, things like that. It was about creating marketing which was by the local community, for the local community. And over the last 6 months, we've been planning a marketing campaign that coincides with Mental Health Awareness Week, which is May 13th to May 19th. And as a result of the work that we've done in the last 6 months, rather than just being a 5-day campaign, we're now going through the kind of administrative process to actually turn it into a community interest company, a bit like a social enterprise. So as a result of the campaign that goes live in May, hopefully beyond that, we'll be in a position to actually keep it a permanent fixture in the town and help create more awareness for the topic of men's mental health.
So how do you so why did you just have men for mental health? Why did you just focus on men for mental health?
I get asked that question a lot as to why we're going down the route of being specific to men, and going back to one of the things we didn't really want to hone in on, it is to do with all the statistics. So 1 in 4 people in the UK suffer from mental health problems, but actually the suicide rates of people taking their own lives is the highest in men. And I think it's 75% of all suicides locally are actually men. But within that statistic of male individuals, a huge percentage of those guys have never opened up to a friend or a family member, or have gone to seek professional support for how they're feeling. So it's a really clear indication of this old school mentality from guys that they need to be strong and tough and macho, and it's not a positive thing for them to share their emotions. We're trying to kind of break down that barriers, get guys talking more with their friends, get colleagues, family members, sisters, mothers to try and spot behaviour differences and the way people act. If if that changes slightly, it could be an indication that something might be going on in their life which they're not talking about.
So what about children with mental health? Do you only support people of a certain age range?
The campaign can be open to anyone. It's not specific on that. However, going down the route of getting too involved in kind of children's based mental health, that's not necessarily something we're looking to market to at this stage. That's not to say though that the marketing collateral on the website we've created couldn't be of benefit to someone who's slightly younger or a teenager, because I'm very conscious that the next generation of children coming through, the statistics are showing that there's a significantly higher proportion of kind of now spoken about mental health problems in kids. But for this campaign, we're sort of targeting the 16 to 50-year-olds, just because a lot of what we're doing is based around paid advertising online as well. And there are certain parameters that we can only kind of push content to.
Have you had any experience in mental health personally, like friends, family, any employees?
I think everyone could probably come out and say they've suffered from mental health problems at some stage. Myself, I have my stressful days, I have down days. I would probably go as far to say that I've not necessarily had a kind of diagnosed mental health issue, but I'm very conscious nowadays that it's important to have positive mental well-being to be able to do everything we want to do in our daily lives. Personally, in and around my own friends' circles, there's a lot of people that have suffered from mental health problems over the years. So the whole objective of Men's Mental Health Awareness Swindon is not to be a provider of direct support, because I'm not a mental health professional, but what we're actually doing is taking some of the context and the answers from that focus group of the guys, looking at what services are available locally and nationally, and picking out the ones which we think are most relevant for a broad demographic of individuals. So a lot of our content marketing will be engaging and shareable, but the calls to action within it will be sending people to the new Men's Mental Health Swindon website, and on that, if you are in need of immediate support, there's a button that you click on, and actually a whole range of local and national services pop up. The Samaritans, for example, and the Calm Zone, which is two national charities, but there's also a couple of local ones too, like Ipsum, who are a Swindon-based mental health support provider, and they use musical therapy. And we've got Wiltshire Wildlife Trust on there, for example, that use outdoor and green spaces to help bring guys together to talk and do activities and things like that.
So what is your company called?
It's called Men's Mental Health Swindon. Mm-hmm. That may change in the future, I don't know, but at the moment the website is mmhswindon.co.uk. Rather than spending a lot of time thinking about a cool and quirky name, we just thought, let's do what it says on the tin. Our marketing activation that goes live in May is based around a huge poster campaign. We've got 9 Swindon-based guys who we either approached or approached us because they wanted to be involved. And the whole thing with mental well-being and mental illness is that you can't see it. So the guys that we've got on the poster, you know nothing about their history, you know nothing about their story. Some guys are smiling, some people are frowning. The whole point of it doesn't matter who they are. They could be suffering from mental health problems, or they could consider themselves to have really positive mental well-being. And we are in the process of having a huge amount of posters printed. We're going to get them all around Swindon, and on that it will list the website. And the whole point of the offline campaign is to drive people to the website or to share the websites with their friends and family. And then we'll also be activating some really cool videos online on Facebook, which we'll be putting a huge amount of advertising spend at to target them at Swindon-based guys. So hopefully if you're out and about having a coffee, or you pop into the toilets at work, you might see the poster. That would be great. But secondly, hopefully if you're flicking through Facebook and Twitter and Instagram on a weekend or an evening, one of our videos will land on your feed. And by using the experience that I've got from the social media business and creating content, I'm hoping that we are producing some videos which are going to be really well received, be seen by a huge amount of people, and actually help to kind of break down that stigma a little bit of men's mental health.